Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of CoinNewsExtra interview session. So it's a program where we invite blockchain and cryptocurrency innovators, enthusiasts, and other people who are making wave in the ecosystem to talk about their experiences and what they think about the future of blockchain and cryptocurrency. So today we'll be talking about deep dive into the role of media in blockchain and crypto education. And we have a high personality in the media sector. She is Elsa Ramon. Elsa Ramon is co-founder of Ovis.News and also co-owner at Ventures in Crypto. Elsa, you're welcome to CoinNewsExtra.
Thank you so much. I feel very honored to be here with you today. Thank you for asking.
It's a pleasure to have you. So you have a lot of experience in the media sector, and you are in a better position to talk about this, what media is doing in blockchain to create more education. So deep dive into the role of media in blockchain and crypto education. So before we go straight to that, we want to know briefly, because we don't have much ladies in the ecosystem. So we want to know briefly your background and how you got into the ecosystem.
Well, I spent 22 years in corporate media in the United States as a presenter and a reporter. I've watched over those years corporate media overtake the initial goal of a newsroom, which is to cover the community and be a service to the community and get justice for community members and solve problems for community members by telling their stories and confronting city leaders, state leaders, rooting out corruption, and covering politics. But over the years, those of us who worked in corporate media here in the United States saw less of that and more sensationalism, covering car chases and weather and ridiculous stories that really didn't give much to the community we were serving. And it became more important to get people to click on stories and sign up for updates and download the apps. And it became more important for the corporate media members and the executives to keep and maintain their level of pay high. And they continued to take away more and more money and resources from the newsroom where we all worked and tried to do our jobs. And over the years, this kept happening more and more and more, where it became those of us who worked very hard and long hours every day, although we were well compensated, started seeing our resources diminish. We started seeing our pay diminish, and we started seeing the executives and bosses asking more and more of us to do more with a lot less in pay, in resources, and staff. So it's just become more clear than ever that we were here to serve the corporate leaders and the shareholders of these television conglomerates. And this got away completely from the mission that most of us who got into the news business wanted to do. And so I became, over the last 5 to 7 years, very disappointed in how news was approached here in the United States, how the media was being perceived because of the shift from serving our community to serving corporate interests. And I started to worry, because this was my main source of income and supporting my family, and it was my passion. And I didn't have another passion. And it wasn't until February of 2018 when I learned about blockchain technology and Bitcoin at a small discussion and presentation that I became completely enlightened and completely intrigued with the technology. And I knew that night that I learned about it, I knew that was my new passion. I knew that was my way out of corporate media and my way into something um, that I could put my passion into, my heart and my soul and my effort into, because I felt like renewed again, like I had a mission now. And that mission was to educate people about blockchain technology, Bitcoin, and everything that comes with it. And so here I was again, feeling like I could build and serve uh, through education. And so here I am 2 years later, working in this industry, and I feel much more fulfilled and happy. I have a lot less money right now, but strangely enough, I'm happier.
Justin, you heard about the blockchain and Bitcoin. We call it love at first sight, and you fell in love with the ecosystem.
Yes, yes,
That,
like an epiphany.
so you are the evangelist when it comes to blockchain. You teach people, you educate people about this industry. So, what's the state of education about the blockchain and cryptocurrency space? How has it been faring?
Well, as you know, it's not easy because, especially here in the United States, because I think people here in the United States are very complacent. I'm very comfortable with the way they've been used to managing their money and their finances and their way of life, and the uh, feeling of having freedom here in the United States. So when you try to approach somebody and teach them about Bitcoin and blockchain, and teach them about basic finances and economics, which I also had to learn as well, because I did not realize how much is really happening that I didn't know in these areas, and how little freedom I actually really did have in this area. Although we have the appearance of total freedom here in the United States, many people become slaves to debt, and don't know how to manage their finances, and they become lifelong slaves to debt. And but yet they still feel like they have things pretty good here in the United States. So it's been difficult to have people understand and open their minds to what this technology can offer, what it can change, what Bitcoin can do, how it is a great alternative to the dollar, which is continuously losing value. Some people don't want to see that, and they don't want to take the time to learn because it's scary and intimidating to people, and I understand that. So it's been a challenge. I feel like I've been trying for 2 years, and I'm barely just scratching the surface with some people. So it's very hard to move the meter, to move the gauge, to see progress in people opening their minds with this. It's definitely not easy, and I know you know this. This mission of educating people and trying to help them, but I understand people's fear as well. So we're going to continue doing what we're doing. We're going to continue telling our stories and letting people tell their stories about what they're building in this crypto community, the services that industries are building and that companies are starting to offer people to make their lives easier and better, and give people more power to take control of things like their identity and their privacy, and monetizing their own data instead of companies like Google and Facebook being able to monetize your data and make money from your data while you don't make a penny. These are the things I try to tell people that we don't even realize are happening to us. as we go about our everyday lives, and how blockchain and crypto can change this and balance the power between people and executives. There is a way to level the playing field in many different areas, and that's what we're trying to teach people. But again, to answer your question, it's difficult. People don't want to let go of what they feel is safe and what they know.
Thank you very much. We know how it is to educating people. It's not easy and it's something new. The industry is new. Esther, you are a media personality talking about a blockchain and cryptocurrency education. How will you rate the media when it comes to educating people? Have they really lived up to expectations?
Um, how would I rate the media here in the United States about crypto education? Poor, um, failing. I think there have been some breakthroughs in our mainstream media industry, in the corporate media industry, but most of that breakthrough seems to be with financial channels that focus on things like the stock market and Wall Street. The coverage tends to be a focus on price and Bitcoin and charts and predicting what will happen with Bitcoin and how it affects Wall Street. Again, that part of investing and that part of Bitcoin is, I would say, something that's a little more advanced. And so people aren't understanding it because I think the traditional media is trying to put a round peg in a square hole, because they're trying to explain it as if they're trying to explain Wall Street or stocks. And regular people, everyday people, don't even dabble, many of them, in regular stocks and Wall Street and what happens on Wall Street and in the stock market. Many people are just trying to get by and don't have the means to participate like that in the stock market. And I feel like those traditional media outlets are trying to put Bitcoin and the technology in that space, as opposed to telling the stories of people who are building the industry, people like you, people like me, people who have real stories to tell during their efforts to build companies. They, those are the stories that need to be told. Those are the stories where we see the human struggle and the family sacrifice that people are making to try to educate people on what it's like to build a company in this industry, and the challenges they face and why, their motivation as to why they're building this. Because I feel a lot of people in this industry have a very good heart and want to see people succeed and want to help people level the playing field. And of course, they want to be successful too as entrepreneurs, which there's nothing wrong with that. But also they want to see this technology at work. They want to see it in real time helping people. And those are the stories I like to tell. I like to tell the founders' stories, the people stories, the human stories behind this, and not read the charts and listen to the analysts about price and what Bitcoin may or may not do. That's a whole different world. We want to focus on the human stories on this side of the industry.
Yes, what you're saying is true. Some people want to just talk about the chart aspect of it, making people not to pay much attention to what should be paid attention to. So that brings us to another question. You said the media has not really done well. What do you think should be done to make the media to do what they should do and enlighten people on the particular things? Tell the two sides of the story, not a single Chimamanda will say a single story, dangers of a single story. So what should be done by the media platforms to correct this?
Well, there has to be a lot of change within corporate media, first of all, to even be able to appropriately cover our industry and what's happening in this space. The corporate media here in the United States has bigger problems, and it might be a while before corporate media allows people like me to tell these stories, to bring them to mass audiences that the corporate media has. And that's what I'm doing with my other company, Adventures in Crypto. We tell those stories of the people building this industry, the founders, the presidents, the people, the teams, and what motivates them to want to do this for people. What motivates them to want to protect people's privacy? What motivates them to want to level the financial playing field for people and make their lives better? Why is this technology so important? How can it affect multiple industries all over the world? Agriculture, medical industry, privacy industry. Those are the stories I want to tell and that we're telling with Adventures in Crypto. But the corporate media hasn't made room for us yet. So we're going to continue to be the squeaky wheel that hopefully will eventually get the oil, and have corporate media give us some of their platform to be able to show people how they can really make this a part of their everyday lives. The problem is, you know, corporate media is so intertwined with money and influence of people who want to control the narrative and control what corporate media covers. So there's a challenge for us there to be able to tell our stories, because if the powers that be see this as a threat to their bottom line, we may not have a way in. So I don't know that corporate media is going to come around anytime soon and allow me to tell my stories on their platform. Fortunately, corporate media isn't just in complete control anymore. We all have the ability now to get the word out on what we're working on through various different means, like we are now. We have YouTube channels, you know, we have social media. We have lots of different avenues that we can use now to help educate people without the influence of corporate media.
Thank you very much, Elsa. Lastly, before we draw the curtain on this episode of CoinNewsExtra interview, you talk about telling your stories, most especially with adventures in crypto. How are you playing a role in this ecosystem with these your platforms?
Well, I travel with a crew, a whole production crew, when we are able to travel. Obviously, this year we haven't traveled at all. So we've been interviewing people by podcast. We have a podcast that is part of our Adventures in Crypto business, a production company. But normally we would travel the world with our production company and go visit businesses that are trying to start blockchain companies, or trying to educate people in their countries about Bitcoin and everything else in this space. And we put together those stories. I serve as the host and reporter for our stories that we put together, and producer, along with my partner. And we put together these stories with our crew. We shoot, we write, we edit, and then we post our stories on our YouTube channel and all of our social media outlets as well. But lately, because of COVID-19, we've been doing a podcast and posting our podcast on our social media outlets as well, to interview some of these same people, maybe not the way we'd like to in person and show actually what they're doing. But at least we're able to stay connected right now via podcast. And hopefully next year, we will all be able to have some of our normal lives back, and we'll be able to travel. And it is my hope that we get to visit Nigeria and other countries in Africa to show what's happening and where blockchain and Bitcoin is this time next year.
Interesting. Now we are always ready to welcome you all and show you people hospitality over here in Africa.
That would be my dream.
Thank you. That would be an honor. Thank you very much, Elsa Ramon, for joining us today on Coin News Extra.
My pleasure and my honor. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.